coming to you tonight from my very favorite green chair. I love it. So something that I wanted to do a video about was children's books or kids' books and what kind of books are good for very young kids. So I thought maybe something like this would help people figure out what type of book to buy, you know, like a friend or a cousin or whatever for kids, and or even just what type of books you might be more likely to get your own kids to sit through if they're similar ages. Okay, so when we're starting with like the really young kids, and these little tiny books tend to come in box sets of like 12. They're themed, like I think you can get Sesame Street, Disney Princess, Princess Sophia, Mickey Mouse, all different ones, and they're really like not so much for reading, like this like one sentence, a short sentence on each say, like this is like very summarizing Cinderella. Actually, I think it's actually a separate story, but they're perfect because the little kids can just fit them in their little hands and they carry them around and like play with them themselves. Secondarily, ones like this, like interactive books, are really good. This is Mary Had a Little Lamb, and so as you open it, you just stick your finger in the back and you're the sheep, and they're not usually listening to the story, but like at least they're paying attention to like what you're doing, and you just say, it's just a nursery rhyme. I have this one, and then I have the Three Little Pigs, and with a little pig in the middle, and so those are great. Then of course there's these books that have like little this one's called Touch and Feel. They're like sensory books. So this is shiny, and this is like what material is that? Like not felt. Has different materials, and shiny and squishy and bumpy and scratchy, and those are good for little kids with just a few words on each page. And then sometimes they don't clue in that it feels different, so you touch it first and then they touch it, and so they love ones like that. This one, my daughter loved this one, and I read it to her over and over and over again, and there's not really anything special about it other than the outside of it is like a soft material, and then it used to have Velcro shut, but it's been a few years, and so this just talks about things that move, and it's like basically a normal book, but it just has one sentence on each page, and it was like enough. It kept her attention, and she wanted me to read it to her over and over and over again. When you're looking for books for little kids, it's really word count. Like if the book is too long, if it's too many pages, and if you're doing like a paragraph per page, like it's way too long for little kids. So this one is like one of the best ones. This book doesn't have any words in it, and it's all about clothing. And so basically like each page, there's a lot going on. Look for types of books like this, because with these books, you just create the dialogue. So you just start talking about like, oh my gosh, like what is that little piggy doing? He is not wearing any underpants, and like look, his brother is laughing at him, and his mommy is trying to make him put his underpants on. He's being silly boy jumping on the bed, right? Like, and that's how you read to young kids, and they love it, and they just laugh and laugh, and that's better because you can almost create your own story. Then you have like the learning books like this one and this one, like shapes and colors. And so with this one, where it's not really a story, it's just words, and so you have to point to the things as you say them and talk about the colors and talk about what it is, and count things and get them to count things and get them to point at which things are different colors. And once you've read it a few times, you say the word and ask them where it is. Where's the donut? Where's the tire? and then it becomes interactive in that way. And that's a way to keep their attention. And then this one, again, it's not a story. It's just words. It's just descriptive book, but it's bright colors. It's interactive. Touch and feel. This one's a broken. Like this. Those are awesome books for little kids. And this is super cute. Like, has a little handle for them to carry it themselves and everything. Then, another option would just be to belt it out. This is nursery rhymes, and they're all little songs. And so you just sing the songs before bed. And it has nice illustrations. But kids love singing, kids love songs. So if you get books, like a little book like this with nursery rhymes, or if you get the wheels on the wheels on the bus in a book form, or what are some other ones, like that one, like Mary Had a Little Lamb, you can sing that one. And yeah, like if you look for ones that have songs in it, like that can keep their attention. Then of course I'm thinking this one has, yes, of course everybody knows that babies love peekaboo. And so for books, they love flaps. So if you get books with flaps, they love it, but you have to keep them. You can't just store them where they can grab them. Otherwise, you're not going to have very many flaps left at the end of the day, or you're going to be taping the books back together, which I have done before. And they love them. This one hasn't been a favorite so much, but we have other ones that are actually called like Peekaboo, and there's one that's called Kiss Baby's Boo Boo that both my kids love. And they have flaps. Big flaps are better than little flaps for like sustainability. They'll last longer. The ones that just have like little tiny ones that like flip up, they're really easy for the kids to like rip them right off. So then this is a bit of a longer one, but I make it interactive. It's called Tickle Me, and like every sentence starts with tickle me, so I just tickle my kids as I read it. And this would normally be too long of a book for my 18-month-old. Even though it has really beautiful illustrations, but that's how I keep her interested, is I tickle her, I keep her interactive, or I would be pointing at things as I'm talking about them in the story and getting her to notice them and asking questions. Ask kids questions about it, or tell them like, look at this. Oh, did you see that? The snake is tickling him behind his ear. And then the best, for me, for both of my kids, we like have our bedtime routine, and for my older daughter, however many books they pick before bed, whatever, like sometimes it's just 2, sometimes it was 3 or 4, depending on how the night goes. But I usually choose one book that is like a bedtime themed book, and it ends up like letting them choose it, like it's whichever one they seem to like the most. But for my oldest daughter, we had a book called Clifford's Bedtime, I think. It was in Spanish and English, so that was perfect because my husband speaks Spanish. And so whatever other books that she wanted to read, and then the last book that we always read, and then after we finished that book, it was bedtime, was that book. And I can't find it. Well, I still have it somewhere, but I couldn't find it to show you. It's really worn out. But we read that book so many times, and then there was a period of time where we couldn't find it, but it didn't matter because I knew it by heart. And it was really a lot easier to put them to sleep, because once they get into that routine, and you just do it for like a week, 2 weeks, and then they just know once you pull out that book that it's over, like it's time to go to sleep now. So that really helps for kids. So this one is my one for my 18-month-old toddler right now. Time for bed. It's super simple. She flips the pages. So we go through like time to play, time to put toys away, time for supper, and it goes all the way through, and time to say goodnight. And then she usually goes, no. And then I say, oh, you want to read it again? Yeah, because it takes 10 seconds, so it's not a big deal. And then we read it again. So it's really good if you can find something like that for your kids that's specifically like a bedtime book. And then read that one last, and it really helps just like get them into the mood for it. And so that they know what's coming. So as we get into a little bit, okay, this is a much younger book. It's just another like interactive one. I think this is like a dollar store book. It's like has Olaf's hands. And so on each page, there's just a sentence, but then there's like a thing and it says like, pretend to put Olaf's arm in place. Oh, put him arm on him. Like wipe his nose or whatever. Yeah. So like the interactive books are really good. So let's get into, so these are getting into like older, like we didn't start reading these ones until my daughter was at least 3 years old. But we have been reading them like over and over and over again. And so there's these ones that are reading with phonics. Little Red Riding Hood. We have Little Red Riding Hood. We have Cinderella, Goldilocks and the Three Bears. I think that's it. I think we just have 3. And the rhyming is so good, and it turns the story into a rhyme. Here's a house close to the wood. Here's a girl who's kind and good. Here's her favorite riding hood, a gift from Granny Annie. And then in the woods, look out, could there be a wolf about? And it says that part on every single page. Kids really love repetition. And my daughter, of course, knew that part by heart. And so that I made that her job. I would say the other rhyme, and then I'd look at her and I say, in the woods, and then she would finish it, and she would say that would be her part on every single page. And so those ones are really good for her age. One's a little long. This one, a friend of mine got this for her as a birthday present. So step into reading. These are early reader books. So this is a combination of 1, ready to read stories, and 2, reading with help stories. Preschool to kindergarten, and then preschool to grade 1. So these stories are so perfect. They go from the 2 at the beginning are really just like 2-3 words per page. Poor Cinderella. Poof, a fairy godmother. And she just loves it. And obviously, like, the book is just worn. We've read them so many times. I have them all memorized. It's like big, beautiful pictures and then just little rhymes. And this is perfect for toddler preschool age kids. Then once we start getting a little bit older and our attention span can hold us for a little bit longer, we start to people always get me collections of stories. And sometimes the stories are too long. So you just have to, you'll see if you get a collection of stories and then you're halfway through one and the kid tries to run away. But this one's pretty good. It only has maybe 2 or 3 sentences on each page, and they're not very long. She's not interested in all of these stories, although we have read them all. But there is it's Curious George's birthday, and then Curious George goes to Halloween party, and those ones are her favorite, and we just read the same ones over and over and over again. But Curious George is really great for little kids. Of course, Robert Munch books are amazing, and if you can get the big, beautiful, illustrated ones. This one's called More Pies, and it's just about a kid who's basically a garbage truck eating everything in sight. Samuel woke up really hungry, and then with any book, but especially with Robert Munch books, the more animated that you are, the more they're gonna like stay and give you their attention. So like if you're just gonna read it like monotone, but if you're gonna get it, but if you're gonna get really into it, like we always say, like, okay, he went downstairs and ate a bowl of cereal, chugga 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 chomp. Then he said, "Mom, can I please have some more?" "Yes," said his mom. "You are a growing boy and you need to eat." So Samuel's mom gave him another bowl of cereal, 2 milkshakes, and a stack of pancakes. Samuel ate it all really fast. Chugga 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 chomp. And she'll take turns doing the chugga chomp part, of course. And so that's a really good idea to get kids to keep their attention. Just be goofy. No one's judging you. Oh, this is another one. This is better for like younger kids. When she was like 2.5, we always like the Spot books. And they're pop-ups, and they're little pop-ups, so you have to be careful. I've retaped them on so many times. They're really cute, but it's like it's just a few words on each page, and so it really keeps their attention, and every little kid loves puppies. So then of course, like whatever books that you can get them, if you can find appropriate for their age, that are like the stuff that they watch on TV, like that'll get it too. So like Oceana loves Peppa Pig. We love Peppa Pig. We love Paw Patrol. Used to be the favorite. So Luna's starting to get into that right now. Dora tends to be a bit longer. Even if you watch the show, Dora is more of a preschool show. A bit of an older preschool show. So the stories are a bit longer, so they might have to have, be 4 or 5 for those ones. But this one was okay for she's almost 4 years old now. Just told the stories of Peppa Pig, and she knows all the friends. So like when we get to this page, I'll go, "Tell me who's all there," and she'll say Candy Cat and Rebecca Rabbit, and she knows all their names. And when I read this story, I try to do it in Madame Gazelle's French accent. And of course, Peppa Pig is a British cartoon, so it's funny if you try to do the British accent, and the kids will love that. Those are some of my kids' favorite books, and I hope that this video helps you have fun reading with kids, whether they're yours or not.
I'm Otiana, and I was Luna. We had to read our favorite bits, and my bit is about going to the park. And so we went to sleep, then we read a bit, then we went to sleep. When in the morning we wake up. Bye.
Can you show them what your favorite book looks like? And what's it about again?
It's about Mom and Dad go to the park.
It's about going to the park with Mommy?
Mommy take her little baby to the park. Then, bye.
Oh, is that all?
Yeah.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Bye, Luna.
Okay, bye, Luna.